Absolutely. It goes back to that original point I made is what are the people expecting? So when people expect a certain type of management and a certain type of leadership, you cannot just go in there and then give them a completely different kind of leadership, whether you think that's better or not. So whether you think asking questions and getting a brainstorming session going, oh, it's so much better if we do it that way. Well, if that's not what they're expecting, it's not useful to getting the results. So it really culture is not right. Culture is not wrong. Culture is just as is. Like Disney actually has one of the most controlling cultures in the world, but they have a very effective culture. And so culture is unique to every site, unique to every organization. And a topic for another webinar is there is actually a way to measure culture and the satisfaction with the status quo that helps us understand, as part of our connect phase, whether a change will stick or whether a change will take a longer time to implement, that kind of stuff. I don't know how much time we have, but it's really interesting to diagnose a site's culture, a company's culture, and you can very easily see if a change is going to be implemented or not going to be implemented. Culture really has nothing to do with people's nationalities. It has everything to do with people's perceptions of reality. And that's why it's so complex. Is so when we do a cultural diagnostic, Nathan, we have a set of 30 questions divided into six groups of five. And we basically ask people those series of questions in terms of where they think the organization is today and where they want the organization to be tomorrow. And that develops a spider chart of sorts. And then you can see how satisfied people are with the status quo or how unsatisfied people are with the status quo. So a cultural assessment is this cultural assessment can be delivered over 60 different countries and get you accurate results in terms of, because we've done diagnostics, for example, and seen administration. So we do it by different layers and different groups. That makes sense. So we did a cultural assessment for a First Nations organization, and we did a diagnostic of the administration layer, and then we did a diagnostic of the frontline delivery, the people who are actually delivering the services layer. And when you see the cultural assessment of the administration layer, it's very different. And it's basically saying they're very happy with the status quo. They don't want anything to change. When you see the cultural assessment of the service delivery layer, they are very unhappy with the status quo and they want things to change. And then they tell you in the assessment, you're able to see in which direction they wanted things to change. So in their case, they wanted more autonomy over how they delivered the services and maybe more control over the budgets with the services they were delivering to do it that way. Sometimes we've seen mine sites where we've done cultural assessments at, and let's say project sites. So many years ago, we did a couple project site cultural assessments, and where there was, when you talk about expectation versus reality. So in certain sites where there were multiple contractors cultural assessments said they wanted more direction. They wanted more clear, specific direction. They wanted more command and control from site, so they knew they knew their expectations. Versus, someone that maybe people that are leading the site saying, "Oh, we're just expecting you to do the best you can because you guys are amazing. We hired you for a reason," right? So that's the difference in cultural assessments. Cultural assessment has nothing to do with your ethnicity, your background, your knowledge. It has everything to do with your current state perception of reality of work versus your future state expectation of reality of work. And that literally is a numerical way of defining how you're going to implement change into the future.